friends, and welcome to the PhotograpHER podcast. My name is Jaime, and I am your host. And today I have Erin. I'm going to probably say your last name wrong. Is it Wissig?
You got it right. Good
Oh,
job.
yay, good. She is a system strategist, and she helps photographers get systems going so their lives can run a lot more simpler. And she does a whole bunch of other things, and I'm going to let her dive in and talk more a little bit about that. But I'm so excited to have you today, and I appreciate you being here. And I want you to go ahead and just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit more about what you do and what you are really good at.
Sure. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. So a lot of my clients call me their Chief Sanity Officer. I kind of roll in two areas. So I like to say that I focus on systems in everything, but I do come from a creative angle at systems because I work majority with creatives. I have a background
Okay.
in lots of different things, nonprofit, corporate, all of the stuff, but working with creatives is where I found I could shine because they
Mhm.
needed the help and I had the brain that loves it. So I sit in the systems realm where it comes to building out anything from like Flowdesk to your CRM. I focus a lot in Honeybook because that's what I think works best for a lot of creatives' brains, but I've also
Yeah.
worked in other platforms.
Okay.
And then I put on my other hat and I have where I actually come in and support a photographer. So that usually means they have fully established systems or they've worked with me to create a system. And then they're like, hey, I actually don't want to manage this. Like, it's great,
Mhm.
it's wonderful, but I want to focus on the things that are going to move the needle. And
Yeah.
for me, it's not the back end work. And so then I come
Right.
beside them and I partner, and I'm the one managing the back end work for them that they don't want to do. And that can be very different for lots of different photographers. Everyone excels in different areas and enjoys different
Yeah.
areas of their business. So it's customized to what they want. And then most recently, I've kind of expanded out to wanting to get education out to people. I don't always want it to be behind a paywall. I want people to feel empowered to go into their Honeybook or their Flowdesk and make small tweaks and changes while they're building up to maybe being able to afford somebody to help. So that's why I'm here today.
That is amazing. And I agree. As a creative myself, I do not enjoy those back end things and I need help. And I've learned as I've grown that some of those things just don't make sense for me anymore to do. The things that I need to do that are going to move the needle, I can do those and then I can have somebody else do those other things that are, they're just really specialized in that. And although I can do them and I'm okay at them, it's so much better to have help. Especially I have two kids, as we were talking about, I have a 6 and a 9-year old, and it's like just getting your life back. So I so appreciate people like you in the industry that help photographers because it is a lot. Most of us are like a one woman show and we need help.
Absolutely. And a lot of the times, what I hear from my clients is when they bring me alongside them to support on a monthly, ongoing basis, right?
Mhm.
They're paying for a certain amount of hours, but they always joke that they're actually getting way more back in hours because
Yeah.
I'm so much more efficient because I'm in the things every day. And so, where they'd be like spending a lot of time trying to figure out where a setting is, or how do I make this happen, or how do I build this file, um, I can go in and be like, well, I do this every day, boom, 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 it's done. I send it to them and they're like, that would have taken me an hour and a half, Erin. Like an hour and a
Right.
half to figure that out. And you did it in 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
even though, let's say maybe they're hiring me for 15 hours a month, they say they're like, I'm getting 20 or 25 or sometimes 30 hours a month back because I'm not having to learn the thing, try and remember the thing that I'm not in all of the time. And that just makes my heart really happy that they can do that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And not only that, like you're in just that mode to do that one thing. Like I feel like at least for me, and I think a lot of people listening will feel this too, is like we're like, okay, I gotta pick up my kids and I gotta do this and then I gotta post this on social media and then I gotta remember to edit and I gotta do this photo and I gotta answer this email. Like handing it over when you get to a point that you can afford it. I put that in quotations because I think you should do it a little bit before you can afford it actually. Is so amazing. So I love that. Oh, go ahead.
I always like to say that you're switching hats so
Yeah.
often that it's not necessarily your zone of genius, right?
Right.
And when people come to even work with me, sometimes they'll be like, well, can you do my social media? And can you do this? And can you do that? And I'm like, no, that's not my zone of genius. That's not where you want me. You don't want me trying to make creative slides for your Instagram. It would take me just as long. I have great resources and people I can pull in and refer you to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But we all, when we stick where we're really good and we're passionate about it,
Right.
that's where your needle moves. That's where your business moves. Instead of, I think a lot of photographers try and be the person who does it all.
Yeah.
And you are going to burn out if you keep trying to go that path for your whole career.
Yeah. And I think that's okay in the beginning when you have to. I mean, it's
Oh,
good
yeah.
to like know a little bit of everything and then it's like, okay, I know how that works, but now I don't want to do it. So I love that. Okay. When I was looking at your website, which I love by the way, I was telling you that before we hit record. It's so beautiful and it's so thoughtfully put together. You had something on there that talked about you did something on a yacht. Tell me a little bit about what you did before you do what you do now.
Sure. So I came from an event coordination project management background. And I'm actually
Okay.
originally from Oregon, Pacific Northwest, kind of is where I've stayed.
Oh, okay.
And there is
Where
a
at?
boat cruise company there. I won't name names because I'm not affiliated anymore. But I worked there
Okay.
for many years and I was their senior like event project person for all of the events on board. And we had 5 different ships, basically. Anywhere from a small yacht to a ginormous river cruise ship that held like 500 people. Um,
Okay.
and so I used to plan all of those events for all of the
Wow.
people. So we could have 10 events going in a day between the different times and the different things. And some of them were weddings. I specialized with weddings. I was actually called the Dream Crusher for a while because brides have really amazing ideas, but we were on a boat. And so
Oh,
sometimes I had to be like, you can't jet ski up to the boat because the
oh,
access is down here and like, it doesn't work with.
yeah.
So I came from there and then also I from there transitioned into nonprofit and I worked in nonprofit for
Okay.
many, many years. And that was on community building, fundraising, kind of anything you can imagine. And that is where you wear all the hats. They have no budget, you do all of the things. And so I think I learned my like figure it out, do it, grind it out like mentality of like there's not a problem I can't figure out. I'm going to find the tutorial or do
Yeah.
it and make it happen. From
Mhm.
working in that environment where we got it done and we were a team and we supported each other.
Wow. So you definitely know how to work under pressure.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. That is a lot of work. Well, as you're talking about that, I'm like trying to figure out who you work for because I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I'm near Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So, what area were you from?
I grew up in Eugene and then I lived in
Okay.
Portland. So
Okay.
it's been there for a very long time and they used to do
Yep.
Cinnabar cruises. I don't know if they still do Cinnabar
Okay.
cruises, but that
Okay.
should give you an idea. They're the only ones there. So,
Yeah, I think I figured it out. And my husband, he paints ships. So he works right in Portland and he paints a lot of ships. So he probably
yes.
paints it.
This
So,
one is directly downtown.
okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Okay. Well, that's so cool. All right. Well, I want to like pedal back just a little bit
Yeah.
so we can get to know you a little bit more just in your daily life. I just want to know like what were you doing today before we hit record? Like what does a day in the life look like for you when you're not on a podcast and you're working? What does that look like?
Day in life for me starts as mom mode. Just like
Mhm.
everybody else, I a lot of the times, whether you have puppy kids, pet kids, or real kids, and I have a combination of both, I'm up first thing, try and take care of myself a little bit before, take care of the
Mhm.
pets, let everybody kind of sleep as much as possible in this house. We're not
Mhm.
big morning people, so I'm definitely not the person who's up at 5 a.m. Sorry, that's just not
Me
me. I'm
neither.
not super productive first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of prep my house, get my kid out the door for school. And
Uh-huh.
then once she's out the door, I kind of transition that hat into what priorities are for clients, what I'm doing for my own business. But I really try and get some sunlight every morning because mental health is real and Pacific Northwest can be gloomy. I know I'm in California, but I'm not quite in the part of California that's sunny all of the time.
You're in
Um,
San Francisco, right?
I'm actually up from San Francisco. I'm in Chico, so we're like a
Okay.
small college town. So we're about an hour and a half up from Sacramento.
Okay.
Um, and so we are still nice weather most of the time, but we have a little bit more of an Oregon vibe when it comes to rain still.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm looking out my window right now and it's very dark and gloomy. I'm actually leaving to go to Palm Springs on Saturday, and I'm very excited. And I just got back from there, and I'm like already ready to go back.
I know. The sun makes a huge difference. We had that whatever rain system that came through, and a couple of weeks, like a weekend, I was like, oh, I can't do this. This is why we moved to be a little farther away from the rain. We got to
Yeah.
get some sun.
Yep.
So yeah, I just kind of snuggle with the pets. I'm a big reader, so in the morning
Okay.
I like sit in front of my daylight lamp and drink my coffee,
Good for
and I
you.
read not super crazy, amazing, like they're not deep books, people. I read fantasy, true crime, all of the things because our brains need a break.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Okay. What are you reading right now?
I just finished a historical fiction about World War II, about
Okay.
a from a youth perspective. Like a lot of times it's from adults, but it's from
Interesting.
like kids like 18 to 21 going through the migration that they went through to try and escape the Russians, but also
Hmm.
dealing with Nazi Germany. And then it talked
Oh,
about a ship that went down that is a real event that I had never known about. I love learning things sometimes through historical
yeah.
fiction
Okay.
um, that actually claimed more lives than the Titanic, which I thought was
Okay.
very
That is
interesting. They lost
interesting.
about 9,000 refugees on that ship. So, and most of
Okay.
them were children. So
Oh, that's
sometimes I
awesome.
read the books that just like make me
I know I was gonna
sob.
say that doesn't sound very relaxing to me, but I also watch like Jeffrey Dahmer at night and it makes me
Oh
go to
yeah.
sleep.
I will say right before that, I finished the newest book in the Hunger Games series, and I'm gonna forget the
Oh,
title of it,
yeah.
and that was phenomenal. And but also
Yeah.
sad. I was not expecting it to be so sad, and I cried
Yeah.
my eyes out. So, but it
Yeah.
was wonderful. She is such a great writer in tying all of her
Yes.
books together.
Well, very cool. All right. Well, I want to get to know a little bit more about your business if we can dive into that a little bit more
Yeah.
too. So, I want to know how you became the person that photographers go to for all of this back end business stuff.
It started accidentally. To
Okay.
be totally honest. Once I had my daughter, I took a year off. We were also in
Mhm.
COVID, all the things kind of
Oh, right.
collectively came together. And I had transitioned from going to the job so I could be at home with her, kind of have a break. And then my brain needed to do something else. Like I
Yeah.
needed to activate my brain again. And I love
Get
being a
that.
mom, but I also really love using all of those skills that I built for so many years.
Yeah.
And so I was stumbling upon stuff and I came across virtual assistant. And I was like, I could do that. I have all of the skills and the background and all of the knowledge. And for the first year, I worked with all different segments of people. I
Uh-huh.
worked with HR, I worked with marketing agencies, I kind of worked across the board. And then I started working with a couple different creatives. One was an artist and one was a photographer. So a
Okay.
painter, artist, and then photographer.
Mhm.
Um, and then the photographer just kind of started sharing my name with more
Mhm.
people and
Yeah.
more people. And I realized that the work that I was doing for them was what was giving me the deepest joy.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt like it was the most needed,
Mhm.
especially considering there's a lot of agencies that do VA work. A lot
Mhm.
of the stigma
Mhm.
around it is like sending it overseas. It's really like affordable and things like
Oh,
that.
okay.
And that's not necessarily what photographers need to be able to
Right.
trust a business that they've built that is like
It's
their
their baby.
livelihood and a lot
Yeah.
of the times their child.
Yeah, it is.
And so I came alongside them and was like, this is what I want to focus on. You
Mhm.
guys need it, you appreciate it. I can
Yeah.
provide it in a way that I think I approach systems very differently than standard systems people do. I do still have a creative twist to how I do it. I'm not all just
Mhm.
like spreadsheets and numbers and logic in that sense. And so we pair really well together. And over the last couple of years, so I've been doing this for, I think we're at 6 years now,
Wow.
specifically, and with photographers. So yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I love that you pull the emotional part into that because I feel like a lot of photographers, or maybe not all of them, but a lot of them I know and myself, were slightly woo-woo, very emotional. And that goes to my next question is what you do is somewhat techy, but how did you know like there was tech part of it, but the emotional side? Because I think you tie that in really beautifully. And I can see that on your website, but also when you're talking, I can hear you're passionate about it.
Um, I think because while I'm an A-type personality and I don't consider myself creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of my clients will come back and be like, no, you are creative in a totally different way.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think that um, I approach systems as connection and not as like something that is just to manage tasks. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, that is the big piece that's different. I don't
Mm-hmm.
come into someone's business and go like, how do we just make this the most efficient thing there possibly can be? I
Right.
come in and go, how do we create a communication device between you and your clients that frees up
Mm-hmm.
mental space and time for you, but also brings your personality in and doesn't lose that like connection, because as
Mm-hmm.
photographers you have repeat clients, you've been with them for years, you've seen their children grow, you may have been there to photograph the birth, right?
Right.
And so for me, I see systems as a way to give those of us who are super busy or have these big dreams more space to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that is emotional, that is personal. I
Yeah.
do not think that there is one system for everybody. And I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
like all family photographers should have the same process, because everybody's
Right.
system is different. How their brain thinks is different. I come in with a starting point and show examples of
Mm-hmm.
how something can run, but for me, it's all about getting on a call and listening to like where their heart is, where they like to communicate, what's super important to them. And then we build from there.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. But that goes into my next question. Where do you feel like photographers over automate and then they hurt their connection?
I would say social media can be where you over automate. The big thing of like
Yeah.
using all of the instant, like click this button or do this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's using ManyChats, right? Which is a great tool. It's
Right.
amazing, but
Mhm.
it can be
Yeah.
really oversaturated in the market, and it can also kind of take that personality away. So I think socials in the direct communication with people, I think scheduling and all of that stuff is wonderful. I'm
Yeah.
really a big proponent of though, like be in the comments to respond to people. Like, let's not
Yeah.
just use the hooks and the links to try and get people to do things,
Right.
because it's oversaturated. And I
Yeah.
do feel like you lose that connection, because no matter how much you personalize those, you can tell they're a bot. Like it's a
Right.
back end system that's happening.
Right.
The other area that I think can become over automated with people is in their email responses within their
Mhm.
CRM.
Yeah.
I am a big proponent of we do need to get information to people immediately, right? In this
Yes.
day and age, they are like, get it now or you're out of mind, and we cannot all be glued to our computer. So I really think that that first email, automate it, get as much information into their hands as physically possible, and reiterate it. It doesn't matter if
Mhm.
it's on your website. 90%
Mhm.
of the time, they're not going to read it or they're not going to find it.
Right.
Stick it in
Yep.
that email, have a link to the
Say that all
pricing,
the time.
have a
Yeah.
link to your portfolio, have a link
Yeah.
to all the highlight questions that you know you get.
Right.
But then I think within your system, it's really important to build a personal follow up touch. And so a lot of the times I will tell people, be authentic in that it's an auto response, right? Let's
Mhm.
tell people, I want to make sure you have this. I'm out shooting. Here's my information.
Mhm.
And I'm going to follow up with you in 48 hours or
I
72
love
hours,
that.
whatever feels comfortable for you. And then I have them build in a task for themselves to go look at those inquiries and just be like, oh, they mentioned their 82nd birthday for their grandma, or,
Yeah.
this is a milestone for their kid. And then in that one, to be a little bit more targeted, right? A little
Yeah.
bit more personal. And that one is still can be a template, right? It can
Yeah.
still be a template you're working off of, but we
Yeah.
want to have the eyes on it. And I feel like that converts better than just having all of your responses automated. And I feel
Yeah.
like the more with AI coming in and all of
Mhm.
the different ways we can automate, that it's really important to be authentic in when something is automated. I think people
Yeah.
appreciate that. I think they're like, oh, great, she took time to build this for me so that I'm getting the information, but I'm not losing that connection with the person that I found on Instagram and I loved their personality and how they interact with their clients. So
Right.
I think those are kind of the two areas that I can see the biggest effect.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm already going to change something right when we get off this call because you just made me think of something that I'm doing wrong.
I
I
love that.
I do automate, but I love that you said you just say it's an automated response because I feel like we think we can't say that, but we can. And if I got
And
one,
say
I'd
it
be
in a way that is very much you,
yeah,
right? It doesn't need to be like, this is an autoresponder. It doesn't need to
right,
be like, my clients will be like, my wonderful CRM is magically sending this to you. Whatever is on brand for them,
right.
say it in a way that is authentic, right?
Hmm.
Authentic to your message and like, yes, I own
Yeah,
it. I could not, some of my clients are doing 400 shoots a year, right? Like they
yeah,
couldn't possibly immediately respond to every
yeah.
inquiry on top of take that many sessions.
Mhm.
That's not possible.
Yeah, for reals. I know it's crazy. So I have an automatic response and I have them tailored to each niche.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm going to go in there and say, like, this is my automated response, whatever way I would say it, which would be something
Mm-hmm.
silly, but I'd be like, okay, this is my automated response, but here's all my information. And I also do send them a text that
Yep.
I think is
Love
really
that.
helpful. And I just say, hey, I'm a real person. I'm here if you have any questions. Did that
Yep.
land in your inbox? Because a lot of times it goes to spam.
Yes.
And I will say 99% of the time, they're always like, thank you so much for being so quick and for reminding me to go check my spam because I didn't see it. Or sometimes they'll put in their email and it'll say like they meant Gmail, but it says like Gmail and it
Yeah.
doesn't go out. So
Mm-hmm.
love that. Okay.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I love that you're tailoring it to your different offerings, right? That's the other thing that I tell people. We're not general auto responding with just like, here's my master pricing page, right?
Right.
We're
Yep.
crafting those initial emails based off of whatever your offer is. It's tailored, the language is there. If they have a newborn, you're acknowledging they're sleep deprived. Here's all the basic
Yep.
information in a snippet so that you can access it. We are
Yeah.
making sure it feels like they are having a conversation with us about what
Mhm.
we have, just in a faster way.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm going to do that right when we get off this call. I love that. Um, so speaking of automations, what is something you think photographers think they need, but they don't?
In the automated space, like as an,
Mhm. Yes, automated and then also just in general.
hmm, that's a hard one. I actually see the opposite most of the time with my
Okay.
photographers is that they
Yeah.
are bulking at automation and not
Mhm.
that they think they need it and they aren't utilizing it,
Uh-huh.
for the very reason that they feel like they're going to lose that connection, that they're going to
Yeah.
become robotic. I think that people
Right.
think automation and they think robot, they think AI, they think those annoying chat pop-ups that are like, that's not what I asked and you're not actually answering my questions.
Yeah.
So I actually see the opposite in a lot of the work
Mhm.
that I do is having a conversation that like automation does not take human out of it. We're talking about how to make your processes faster.
Mhm.
So that's more of what I see actually.
Do you ever have photographers that are maybe newer? Because I see this more with a newer photographer, but they're just afraid to respond.
Yes. And I will say I have leaned pretty heavily into working more with established photographers
Mhm.
for this very reason. One,
Yeah.
if you're not established, you don't have budget yet. You
Right.
also don't have workload enough to bring in
Mhm.
someone like
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
on the support side. Now,
Mhm.
I have built systems, like built out a honeybook for newer
Mhm.
photographers who are like, no,
Okay.
I'm going to invest from the start. I want a process. I want a
Yeah.
system to build my CRM out. Um, and there, it's less about concern to respond and more like how to respond, right?
Uh-huh.
What should I put in that response? There's like paralysis, right? If I
Yes.
don't say
Mhm.
just the right thing, if I don't
Yep.
do it in just the right way,
Mhm.
paralysis and boundaries, right? Like, oh, they mentioned this price, but I actually don't charge that. I charge
Oh my
more
gosh.
than that. Like, do I discount to match it? So it's a lot of the like indecision that I do find if they invest in a system, like working with me to build out that honeybook right away,
Mhm.
we've taken a lot of the paralysis situation away because they
Yeah.
immediately know, like, I've already worked on this copy. I know it's here, it's going out.
Mhm.
Like, they can't sit there and be like, oh no, I don't know what to do because it's already gone. It's
Yeah.
already been sent out into the void.
Yep. I used to do that when I was newer, like my first 2, 3 years, I would just have to think. And then I would have to like take a half hour to write it, and then I delete the sentence and go back in and Yeah,
Well, and I think even established photographers that I work with, one of the things when we come alongside to do a system build like Honeybook, I put a lot of emphasis on we're creating that copy, right? And they have to do a lot of work in that copy. They can choose to
yeah.
work with a copywriter that I bring alongside if they want to do that. They
Mhm.
can do it themselves, or I do offer like we'll tag team it together, right? Like I'll give them
Oh,
some
I love that.
framework templates to give them like a starting point to get it going and like give examples of like you could link to blog posts or you could have this or all of
Mhm.
the different stuff in there. Um, but sometimes even they're like, oh my gosh, I just like half the time, anytime I get inquired for this and this, go in and like rewriting that email
Yeah.
every time, right? Even though
Mhm.
I've sent the alternate version 10 times because it's always someone being like, well, can I do an extended family? Oh yeah, it's this plus this and all of that. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you now have a whole process for that. You
Yep.
don't have to do that.
You don't even
Everything
have
is
to worry about
process.
it.
We're taking it
Yep.
out of your brain and putting it into your system.
Yes, I love that because I'm definitely like analysis paralysis, and I'm much better now because I've been doing it a while, but I remember being like that. But even there's sometimes now that I'm like, oh, did I say that wrong? And I'm just like, just send it off. Like you're good. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You'll have another one coming in. So I love that. So other than time, which is very obvious, what do you feel like a good system should give back to a photographer?
Boundaries,
Oh yeah, I love that.
um, structure,
Yeah.
um, the ability to sleep at night without going
Yes.
through a stress task list in your
Mhm.
head, or wondering, did I or didn't I do that thing that I
Yeah.
told myself I should remember to do? So I
Mhm.
think really honestly, it pulls all of that out of your brain. It's giving your like ability to breathe, to mentally rest, um, to know that you have a place that everything is there and it's working for you. And also boundaries, right? When you've built that system, it's running in the times that it should be running. It's running 24/7. So if someone emails you at midnight, it can
They're gonna.
respond to them, right? But you are not violating your boundary of like, this is my family time. This is my time I should be sleeping. This is,
Right.
all of the things. And I also think it builds boundaries then around pricing. It builds boundaries
Yes.
around expectations and communication. It's also one of the reasons that I'm a big proponent of saying if something is automated when I think it needs to be, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously payment reminders, people know those are automated, right?
Right.
But I think the more we create and remind people there are humans behind our business, especially as we move into AI and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the different stuff. I think people are wanting that human connection and to remind them that we're not all robots. We
Yeah.
have families and time and things that we need to do outside of our computer. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you call yourself Chief of Sanity Officer. What does that really mean to you?
I think for me, the biggest thing is that I'm a safe place for my clients. And
Mm.
that's whatever they need, right?
Yeah,
My clients are not just a number on a spreadsheet. They're not just a paycheck to me.
yeah, I can tell.
Um, some of them I've been with for 5 years.
Hmm.
So I see the ups and downs that's going on in their life as well. Again,
Yeah.
it's human connection. I don't think that I could do what I do if they didn't trust me. And that comes with more than just a task list, right? That
Hmm.
comes with understanding if they're struggling with something with their kid at home,
Yeah.
or maybe somebody's unemployed in the household, or they're going through life changes, or any of the things that are happening. And so sometimes that's just holding space for growth ideas or sounding
Hmm.
board, right? They're like, I did this mastermind and I have all of these ideas. And
Oh, I love that.
what would be feasible, Erin, right? Like, what could I tackle? And so sometimes it's giving feedback on growth to business.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of the times it's just taking all of that heavy, busy back end work
Hmm.
and taking care of it for them.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's taking the things that aren't working for them, right? Like we
Yeah.
might build something or in a season it does work and then it's not working and me going like, "All right, let's fix it. Let's adjust it. Let's make it work for your brain and where you're at
Mhm.
now." So I think for me, really it's tailored to each client
Yeah.
and it's holding space for what they need and meeting them in a way that they need. I don't necessarily have a work process that is across the board for everybody.
Hmm.
Some people communicate better in email. Some people need to do it face to face, and we do
Yeah.
video calls. Some
Yeah.
people voice memo me in my Voxer app, and that's how we do all of our communication. Um,
Hmm.
So I think for me, it's making their lives easier,
Yeah.
however that looks, whether that's communication with me, um, being the one to hold them accountable for things
Yeah.
if they need that. Some of my clients are like, I just need you to check in and remind me I need to do that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it comes differently for everybody. And I didn't actually pick the term. It is something that started with one of my OG clients, and
Oh,
I've been referred, like that's my signature in her emails. Like I sign it, Chief Sanity Officer for her photography
oh,
business.
I
And then
love
as
that.
she's referred me, her like other people, and now some of the people in the San Francisco area joke because it's a small group down there. Like it's a big place, but the photographers are pretty closely knit.
Okay.
That they joked that people are going to think that they have a AI assistant that's all named
Oh.
Erin.
Yeah.
So I always think that's funny. So it's always delightful when I get to go in person sometimes and see people too. When I'm drivable or I'm in the area, I
Yeah.
love to be able to see my clients and do a meetup. And so
Mhm.
that's always fun for me when I'm traveling or we can connect in that way.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Um, Speaking of that, I feel like when I got systems, my sanity was saved. I still have some things that I'm not really great at as far as like mental health, taking care of myself, taking a break. That was my resolution this year to stop working, go eat, go walk, go get up,
It
go
gets
live
hard when we're on a roll.
hard.
Hmm.
It's incredibly hard. So, with that said, where do you feel like uh, systems help with a photographer's nervous system? Like, do you see like a different person as you work through it and they're just showing up like, please take this and help
Oh
me?
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. And
Mhm.
the longer we work together, so this falls in two different categories.
Mhm.
If they're coming to me to just do a systems build, that can take us a couple months, depending on
Yeah.
how extensive what they're doing is. If they
Mhm.
have six offerings, we dive in, we do the thing, and I am
Okay.
also pacing it with them, right?
Yeah.
Because they're also still working, they're doing the thing, they're living their life and all of this stuff, and I don't want
Yeah.
to burn them out
Right.
doing that build. Um, and so watching them come in being like so overwhelmed, and
Mhm.
then by the time we're done, they're like, I'm so excited to like take a sigh of relief. And
Yeah.
then they basically get 3 months of what I call Erin care. So that's as we're tweaking or changing or
Oh,
adjusting, or
I
they
love
have
that one.
questions, or in their mind, they're like, I really wanted to have tasks built in, but then I don't use them at all. So, okay, let's tweak it. Let's get rid of them. We don't want to overwhelm you. We don't want things you're not checking off to like stress out your brain when you go in there or avoid it.
Yeah.
Um, and by the end of that 3 months, the people that I see, right, like the ease that they have in the business, the
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know how
Mhm.
stressed out I was, is
Yeah.
really gratifying to me, and to know that we built something that is bringing support into their lives. And then on the other side, if it's ongoing monthly support, like I said, one of my clients I've been with, I think this is our 6th year going
Yeah.
into it. And it's never an easy handover. I have never had a photographer come to me and just be like, here you go,
Oh, right.
manage my entire world that I built.
Yeah.
It's a slow buildup of trust.
Right.
Um, 6 years later, it is. I get like a voice memo that's like, hey, Erin, can you remove data privacy for me? I saw this Instagram reel about in California being able to take out blah, blah, blah. Let me know if you can do that
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, I definitely can see a progression if they lean
Mhm.
into it. There are going to be some personalities that are
Mhm.
not made to have support. Um, they really want full control of all of the things. And I like to say that you do have to trust the process. You have to trust the
Yes.
person and understand that, like, I have your best interest in mind. Because if your business isn't succeeding, my business isn't succeeding.
Mhm.
But there are some personalities that support is not made for, right?
Sure.
They just really
Very
want to have
true.
that full control. And in those instances, I'm like, we're not made to have that
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to live in that, like, own all the things and be in the stress environment. But
Mm-hmm.
if you like genuinely don't want that for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's just something I've been living in because of circumstance. Like I didn't feel like I had enough finances, or
Right.
I wasn't a big enough photographer to have a VA. Um, I definitely see a lot more space built,
Mm-hmm.
ability to breathe. And also, again, I'm a sounding board. So if they can't figure something out, or they're stressed, or they hear this advice coming in, if whether it's, from other people are doing this, or I did this, does that work in my model? Does it make sense? And we
Yeah.
can talk through it. It's not, they're not living in a void anymore for their
Mhm.
business. I see what's actually happening day to day, and I can give feedback, and we can try and problem solve together.
Yeah, I love that you're really, I mean, you're a virtual assistant, you're doing systems, but you really sound like a partner in their business. And that's amazing to have that because you
I
feel
think it's
alone a lot.
what differentiates me from a lot of different options out there. A lot of photographers I've talked to have tried other virtual assistants,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's through a virtual assistant agency,
Hmm.
or just brought somebody in that they're like, they can just handle this. Like they're an assistant, they can do it. I'm not an agency, it's me.
Yeah.
So my workload is what I can handle.
Right.
I meet them where they're at. Not everyone sticks with me as their virtual assistant through every season. Sometimes we up hours, sometimes we drop hours, which then allows me to bring in other clients. So it's an ebb and
Hmm.
flow with the seasons and their business. And
Hmm.
it builds trust, and they know that they're always getting me, right? It's
Yeah.
not I bring them into the agency and then so and so is doing this piece and somebody else is doing a different piece. Like I have
Hmm.
eyes on their business at all
Hmm.
times, unless we're doing something where they're like, I would like a whole new website. And then I go, great, Helen will come in and work with us. I'll project manage it for you. But the expectation is very real. Like you're paying this other person to do this other
Yeah.
piece. And it's very transparent.
Hmm. Oh, I love that. When do you see most photographers start to come to you? Like, is there a certain amount of money they're making or their mindset? Like, when are they like, Erin, I need your help.
I
I'm
think
gonna die.
mindset, I think I want to dissuade the myth that you have to be a six-figure photographer
Yeah,
to have,
I
I know
agree.
that's the big number that's out there. It's what
Yeah.
everybody wants. It's what and
Yep.
we all want to have a six-figure business, right? But to
Yep.
think that you don't need support or deserve support or can't afford support until you're a six-figure business is mind-boggling to me. I
Yeah,
work
I
with
agree.
photographers who are bringing in maybe $30,000 a year, right?
Hmm.
All the way up to six-figure,
Hmm.
multi-six-figure clients. Now, how many hours you can pay for or what services you're
Hmm.
coming to might be different.
Sure.
It's the mindset shift.
Yeah.
I like to, and I see it a lot when people are in masterminds or they're around other photographers or they
Yes.
go through a course or coaching,
Hmm.
because they're doing the mindset work, right? They're
Hmm.
starting to treat their business as a
Like a
business,
business. Yeah.
investing in it, not treating it as a hobby, realizing that they deserve to invest in their business.
Hmm.
Also, these things are tax write-offs, right? You're
Hmm.
investing in your business. So they've already done the work, and then they're like, all right, I need to do this thing. Like, I'm tired of DIYing. There's nothing wrong with DIYing, but I feel like when you're already at the point that you're at, you don't have bandwidth for that. Like,
Right.
if you want to invest in your business, invest in that person doing the thing that you really want so that you can do the thing again that moves the
Yep.
needle, which is more creative sessions or more blog posts because that connects with people, or your
Yeah.
newsletter if you are passionate about your newsletter, right? I have one client
Yeah.
who he's like, I love my newsletter. That's where
Hmm.
I connect with people. I want to put more energy into that and I don't want to do the admin. And so
Right.
I create that space. Um, I also think that shifting the mindset to think about it a little bit differently is not just looking at the financial number, but breaking down what that piece will bring into your business, right? So if they
Right.
work with me on a monthly basis, I kind of offer two standard tracks, a 5 hour a month for like small little support and 15
Sure.
hours a month for my bigger. And then people pay for more anywhere
Yeah.
in between there if they want, but those are kind of like what I find work best to start. Um, I'm like, let's really look at the number. Most of the people I work with, that's one photography session a month.
Right. Hmm.
And if you're bringing me in and I'm working for 15 hours for you and
Hmm.
one session, pays for me. I've given
Mhm.
you 15 hours back in your month.
Right.
For most of my clients, if we include editing and all of the extra time that takes, that's at least 3 sessions,
Right.
right? That they're
Yeah.
able to then add to their calendar that they
Mhm.
couldn't do before. And
Mhm.
so a lot of the time I'm like, don't get shocked by a number that you're like, oh, that's a reoccurring number. Think of it in your own product, right? Like, what do
Yeah.
you have to go out and do? What is it going to give you ability to do? And I think the same way when it comes to like a honeybook build,
Mhm.
that can be sticker shock for people, right? I'm
Yeah.
still, my pricing is still very in the realm of like, we're small businesses and I want small businesses to be able to have this.
Right.
Because I went out and looked at having people build it for me and I was like,
I
I
know.
don't have that kind of money. That's
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I strategically try because there's a demographic of photographer I want to work with,
Right.
and they're not the people who can hire that giant agency to build out a honeybook for them or a CRM
Yeah.
or all of the things. And so I always look at it and go, it's an investment for now. Think
Mhm.
of what it's you're going to be able to use this for the next 5 years.
Right.
Realistically, when you do a build, I like to say 5 years before you have to do some revamp, right? 5 years
Right.
before there's new features released and all of the different
Right.
things. But then you're not building from scratch. You're just coming
Right.
back to maybe me or somebody else if you want to and having them tweak to
Yeah.
match the new offerings and what's
Yeah.
available.
I have made a lot of mistakes in my business, as we all do. But I think the one thing I was really good at is hiring things out or investing in things before I was ready. Because, let's be honest, like we're never ready. But I knew I was close. And I was like, I know this will be an investment, but it will pay off. So that mindset part that you talked about, I think is really important because I always did it when I was close, but not quite there. And I was like, this is scary, but I don't think I would have had the year I had this last year without having help or systems in place or tweaking my systems, things like that. So I love that you mentioned that.
It's never not going to be scary investing in our businesses, right?
Mhm.
Like, I feel like even if you are super successful and the money is just flowing in, it's an outflow of money. It's also an outflow of
Right.
trust, right? And so that piece plays into it. I will say, I don't think I've had a single client come to me who felt ready to
Right.
outsource
Mm-hmm.
any of it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more in the honeybook building realm because they're like,
Sure.
I 100% don't want to do this. And I
Yes.
absolutely need this. It's a vital part of my business. The CRM is a vital part of your business to be successful, whether that's 17 Hats or Honeybooks or
Mhm.
Dubsado. Um, and so that I have a little less combating, but more of the monthly ongoing support. It's, yeah, I don't
Right.
know if I feel ready for it. I don't know if I deserve it. And for me, I'm just like, try it, see how it goes. And if it's not right, then I also have like zero stress. Like I've had clients who've cried being like, I just can't afford you right now. Like we've worked together
Yeah.
for this long and I have and I'm like, I'm here if you want to come back. Like there's no animosity. There's no like I serve in the time that you need me.
Mm-hmm.
There's like as a family, like if I always tell them, if a family came to you and was like, I can't afford family photos right now, would you
Right.
never talk to them again? Like, would
No.
you never take
You
their business
understand.
again? I
Yeah.
was like, we build that type of relationship. And so I sometimes have clients from 4 years ago who will float back in and be like, I'm launching a mentoring course. Can I hire you for the next 6 months to help manage why that's getting up and going and build the system for that? Or I need tweaks in this area. Can you help with that? So
Yeah.
I highly encourage everybody, um, if nothing else, have conversations with people. A lot of the people who do what I do, we offer free ability to come and talk to us, have a coffee chat. And that we do that not just to try and get your business, but
Yeah.
we really like talking and being in the space
Yeah.
and hearing what's going on, and we like helping. So a lot of
Mhm.
the times I will have coffee chats that don't convert until maybe a year or two down the line.
Yeah. I love that you're creating space for safety and trust, like before and then during, then even after, if they're like, I have to go, and then they come back. Like, I think that's why you're having so much success doing what you do, is because you're a safe place to land. And I think that's a really like big deal to a photographer. Like I said, like when you feel alone a lot, and you're always questioning things, and you're like, well, at least I have, I'm sure they're like, at least I have Erin, and I can go
Yep.
back to her, and she's my safe space. And some photographers don't even have that with their families, like they, especially in the
No.
beginning. So
Yeah.
I love
Or
that.
friends. It's a weird
Exactly.
culture out there that
Yes.
I am very thankful that I have boss women around me who just are very supportive, but not everybody has that. And I think it's really important to be able to provide it and cheer each other on. And
Mhm.
I also think that when it comes to investing, we have to
Mhm.
realize that it can be a stretch for people,
Yeah.
right? And so I don't take it for granted when my clients hire me and they're paying me. Like I know that they're boots on the ground doing the work to pay
Yeah.
my paycheck and invest in me and trust me to do the best that I can for their business. So I think that it's a very important piece to hold. And I also feel like one of the reasons in 2026 that I'm trying so hard to do more of this kind of thing is
Mhm.
that I don't love the paywall to get
Mhm.
information or to pick brains or to
Mhm.
figure out if it's a good fit.
Right.
A lot of the times in coffee chats, it's them just asking a lot of questions like, what is it like to work with a virtual assistant? What would the process be? How do I know if I'm ready? Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. I'm very honest with people. If we have a call and I'm like, you don't really have systems.
Right.
And so, a kind of a qualifier for me is whether I let you go into ongoing monthly support,
Mhm.
depending on how much your system is built, right? If you come to me immediately and are like, and I'm like, you don't have systems, you
Yeah.
can hire me to build your systems, and then we can transition. And we do that in mind, knowing that like you want to hire me to be monthly to manage
Mhm.
it, and we can build the system based off of bringing in support.
Mhm.
But if you don't already have really good systems in place, you're not going to jump right into having ongoing
Mhm.
support because you're not ready for it. And that's going to
Yeah.
cause frustration for you and it's going to cause frustration for me. So it is
Mhm.
also very much educating. So, in the
Yeah.
same right, how we had talked about how to know if they're ready, right? What the mindset is. But is it, and a lot of people think financially, like that's the big hurdle. I also
Right.
counter, do you actually have processes? Do you
Right.
have systems in place that you could hand over to someone, that you could do Loom videos with, that you could walk through,
Right.
that they can replicate that without asking you 12 billion questions every time an inquiry comes in? And if you don't have clear processes in that way, you have to do that work first
Yeah.
before you can bring in that person. And there might be other people who are different who will come in as a VA who might help build at the same time as VA. I
Sure.
just find that that is, for me, it's messy. It's two different expectations, and I would rather give you a really solid system that you could either manage yourself or then have me manage before we go into that support phase.
Yeah, I love that you offer the coffee chat. I love that you call it that. It's warm and inviting, and it's like no pressure. And I have a mentorship for family photographers for SEO and their workflows and things like that. And I always say, well, I'll get DMs, and they're like, well, how much is it? And I just need this, and I just need that. And I'm like, you actually need I call it a strategy call, but it's probably very similar. And I need to know where you're at, why you're there. I need to look at your website and then point you in the right direction. So, and I think that's a huge green flag when somebody offers that before you pay them, because they are investing in you as well and they want to make sure you're the right fit. And I always tell people it's no pressure. And if we're not a good fit, I'm going to point you to the right person. Like you said, they come to you in your coffee chat and they're like, I need a new website. And you're like, great, here's a great person for that. This is what I can help you do and make your life run smoothly. So I love that so much, because I think you've probably heard this 100 times too. We're in a trust recession, and I do believe that a lot of people feel like there's so much out there. They get bombarded every day on the algorithm. Everything comes up telling them what they're doing wrong. And although I want to be an inspiration and help them learn, like, hey, there's probably some things you can do. Like, I don't want to be this negative energy that they see coming up on social media. I'm like, I'm here to help you,
Yeah.
but
I
there's a lot
don't
of
like
things you
the
can do right.
approach of here are 5 things you can fix. Here's
Uh-huh.
like, because I feel very much like it's coming from a negative
Uh-huh.
standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And we all work really hard in our businesses. And the last thing we
You
want to
know,
hear is everything we're doing
it's wrong.
wrong, which
Yeah.
might not be wrong
Yeah.
for your business,
Right.
right? And it's one of the things that when I have people come to me after doing like a master course or any mastermind or coaching or anything like that, if it's a group coaching situation and they're like, well, everyone is like, we should all do it this way. And I was like, well, that's great. It's giving you a structure. But I really
Yeah,
want to talk about what's doing amazing in your business. And if that
right.
piece is doing amazing, why do we want to shift it to look like everybody else's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's
Yeah.
what's working for you. And I was like, what you want to take out of that is that they're talking about having systems in place. They're talking
Mhm.
about a repeatable process.
Yep.
And that doesn't have to look the same as every other family photographer out there. Your
Mm-hmm.
website doesn't have to look the same. Your inquiry response doesn't have to look the same,
Right.
but you're using that as structure. So
Yep.
take it as structure and then let's apply it to the unique pieces of your business and keep your business unique because
Exactly.
we don't need everybody being the same.
No, and I tell my students that too. I'm like, this is what you need right now. Let's build a structure and a foundation. But as you grow, like I'm one piece of your puzzle. Like I would never come to somebody and say, this is all it. This is all you're ever going to need. No, you're going to invest probably more and you're going to do something even different and you're going to invest in other things as you should. But this is just to give you a foundation and it's an awesome foundation and you will tweak it as you grow. And that's what you should be doing.
Well, and I love partnering with people like you who are offering coaching and courses in a way that are sustainable for people and affordable still. Like they're an investment for them, but it also
Yeah.
still leaves budget, understanding those things, right?
Mhm.
Understanding that it's just a piece of the puzzle. There are going to be other pieces, right? If you don't
Yes.
have a website that's been updated in a very long time, or you don't own your own URL or any of those things, right? You probably are going to invest in a new website. You're
Mhm.
probably eventually, if you're not using a CRM, going to need to invest in that. And it's a monthly cost for it. And then it's also the building it.
Mhm.
And so leaving and creating expectation for them that like this year you invested in this, maybe next year you're investing in that. Like we're always investing in our business to
Yes.
grow and bloom and stay
Always.
relevant. It's
Yeah.
just investing in the right pieces in a really smart, strategic way.
I agree. I have invested so much into my business and it was always scary and I really didn't have the money when I did it, but I figured out a way. I got loans or I sold something or I just, one month was a little extra tight because I really wanted to pay it off or something. I really could see the value in the course after I did my research and I looked into what this person or this course was going to help me with. And honest to God, I have never finished one and been like, that sucked. I wish I wouldn't have done that. And I've even done one where I'm like, that wasn't the best one. But what I learned, what I didn't want to do was just as important in that course when I got done. And even the time that it's gone by, the farther away I get from it, the more I realize it was just perfect timing always
Right.
where
Well,
so,
and I mean, I've definitely invested in a mentorship that was not
Mhm.
what I expected it to
Yeah,
be or what it was promised to be. And I was like,
sure.
well, that was money, like felt like kind of thrown into the wind, right?
Right.
But then I'm 3 years down the line from that, and I was like, no, actually, it taught
Mhm.
me what I want my communication with my clients to
Oh my
feel
gosh.
like. It
Yes.
it basically gave me a roadmap of how to, I always like to say, under
Mhm.
promise and over deliver,
Yes. Hmm.
right? Like I would much rather that be the expectation that like they
Hmm.
walk away being like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that I was going to get all of this extra value or that I was going to walk
Yeah.
away feeling this way."
Mhm.
And so there's always a lesson to be learned. There's always something to take away from
You're
it.
always
And
learning
and some
something.
of those investments do hurt a little. Like if they don't turn out exactly how you thought they
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
But we are going to make those. Like it's inevitable while you're throwing the dart to pick the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to switch gears a little bit
Sure.
as we kind of wind down, but I want to know something that you believed 5 years ago that you don't believe now in your environment. Like, what is something that has changed in your world that is different than what you thought?
Personally or business wise,
I would
where are
love
we
to hear
shooting for?
both. Yeah.
Okay, both. Um, Business, I think I will say I fell into the trap of feeling like I had to be overly professional. Like
Oh, yeah.
and
Hmm.
perfectly buttoned up, had to
Hmm.
have a perfect visual to show up on socials. Like just that like it has to be aesthetic. You have to
Yeah.
fit a certain way. And when I kind of let that go and just leaned into I think what is so unique about me is you get me.
Yeah.
Like my friends are like, you talk to us the same way you talk to your clients, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just authentic and genuinely you. And when
Mhm.
I kind of threw that out, like I felt like if I didn't have my entire system built perfectly, if I wasn't showing exactly what I created and doing it perfectly in my business, that no one would hire me, right?
Yeah.
And so a little bit of the like, throw that out the window, and it's okay to be building the boat while you're sailing. Like
Yeah.
there are
Oh,
pieces
yeah.
of your business that you're going to be doing it, you're going to be doing it scared, and you're not going to have all the answers or all the pieces put in place yet. And that is okay. Just keep doing it anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have the time, you build the piece. When the thing
Yep.
happens, you build the piece and you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, Erin could not imagine that. five
Mm.
years ago, Erin was staying up late trying to make sure that all of her inquiry responses were perfect, that all of her emails that were going out were like very clear messaged, and everything had the perfect, proper line to it, right? Of making sure it came out at the right time frame and all of the things.
Mhm.
Current Erin is like, I haven't worked in that before. I can figure it out. It's very much like this platform, right? There's less need to be perfectly polished and admit I'm human.
Yeah. Do you think that's transferred over to your personal life as well?
Yes. I would say in my personal life, probably I am a firstborn, and I'm a
Mm.
firstborn of many siblings. I have
How many?
six, there's six of us in our family.
Oh,
The
wow.
youngest is 23 and he's in my guest room. So I guess when you ask, do I have two children? Yes, I kind of do. He's
Uh-huh.
been a permanent staple in our household for quite a while. Just
Oh,
came back from France from finishing his bachelor's degree. So he's
wow.
back at home base for a little bit while he applies for, the adult job situation. Um, I was a people pleaser in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
which is probably part of why I do what I do. Like I love being able to give that to people. But I have a lot more boundaries now. 5 year ago,
Yeah.
Erin would be like, go out of her way to make a thing. I mean, I might have been sick. It might have been really inconvenient. It might have, and I would get in the car and go do the thing and be and now I'm like, that doesn't serve my family. That doesn't serve me right now. I'm a lot better now at putting boundaries in place and asking myself, am I doing it because it's something that I genuinely want to do, or am I doing it because I feel like if I don't do it, I'm not going to get the love or the appreciation or the
Wow.
whatever it is? And so I think that boundary has showed up a lot more in my world so that I can protect a little bit more of my energy and put it where I want to be putting it. And that's
Mhm.
not just in family, that's also in just general how I show up in the world, right? I would say yes a lot when then be like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? I don't have bandwidth, right? And now
Mhm.
Erin shows up and says, I would love to, but I don't have bandwidth.
Yeah, I
Can't
love
do
that.
that.
Saying
It's
no is
not
hard.
possible.
I'm a people pleaser too, or recovering, I like to say.
We're
And
recovering. We're never out of it. We're
no.
recovering.
And in my personal life, just exactly what you said. Also with my business, especially with I'm not putting all my friends and family under the bus. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's like, oh, can you just do this? And it's like, actually, no, this is my job. I don't want to do it for free. And once in a while, I can do it, but it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't photograph friends anymore. It just never worked out really well. And I'm happy to refer them and I love them. But I'm like, you know what? This is I just want to keep it separate and I love you. And that's my boundary and it's really hard, so please don't make me feel bad about it.
Yeah. No, I think part of it came with age, right? Also having my own child, right? Where now I'm like, okay, I have to have energy to be able to give to that human that I
Yeah.
brought into this planet, and I also need to model good boundaries for her.
Hmm.
And I will always be the person who shows up. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. You need
Yeah.
me, I will show up. But
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
have learned to differentiate when I need to show up
Hmm.
and when it's optional. Right?
Yeah.
When it's like this is not a make or break situation and they will still love me and care about me and my value is not fully determined on how helpful I can be. Right?
Yeah.
Because that is the
Or what
recovery
service
people
I provide you. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so I have a few more questions before we
Sure.
wrap up. But if someone were to take a small step after listening, what should it be in your opinion?
I would sit down and go to your website,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go through your website like you are a client.
Mm-hmm.
I would click on it and say, I want to book a family photography
Oh,
session,
I love that.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would use a different email, your husband's, a burner one that you have, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and treat yourself as your client.
Mm,
And
that's a
if you're
great
going
idea.
through that and at any point you're like, oh, that took a long time, or that went to spam, or I, that's where I would start with the change. Just
Mm-hmm.
small. What do you already have in place that you could level up just a little bit? And pick one thing. And I would usually say pick your most prolific offering, right?
Sure.
If you do mini sessions and that's what you get the most traction for, do it for mini sessions. If it's a family session, do that. If it's weddings, do that. Weddings are a beast of their own. Obviously, those are big workflows and different processes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that would be my first tip is that's
Okay.
where you start.
Okay. And one last question before I ask you two other questions. I keep saying that. So, what does success feel like in your body now versus like a year ago? Do you feel like, I know we kind of talk about personal and business growth, but you do systems, strategy, and I know you do it for yourself, but when you feel like, okay, I'm successful, what does that feel like in your body?
In my body, it feels, I'm a big water person. I love the ocean, the lake, the river. It feels like the same calm that I get when I get to have the ocean breeze, like just that like hit of the air that hits you when you're around a body of water, that it just
Love
like for
that.
some reason just like opens up your lungs and like my whole body just like
Hmm.
relaxes. It is my happy place.
Yeah.
For me, that's what it feels like within my body and within the structure in itself. That is very much having built boundaries and understanding that I support all of these people and we have a communication and a relationship and they can be sending me, I tell them at all times, you can send me information at any time. I can get an email at midnight, you can Voxer me, you can everything. I will not look at it
Yeah.
until my business hours. My
Yeah.
stuff is open to you at all times. You send it when it comes into your brain. The expectation that you need to know is I will look at it when my brain is doing what it needs to
Yeah.
do.
Good for you.
And that shift, that structure of like knowing that they can dump everything that they need and then
Mhm.
I will get it in my time, that has that same feeling to it.
I love that. I love that you use like the water and the ocean because when I felt like successful was when my body started to feel like my nervous system. I mean, it's still I need a lot more work, don't get me wrong, and I need to lay off the caffeine, which I'm working on, but
I
I
didn't have a coffee yet this morning. I talked to my friend who's a public speaker and I was like, I'm nervous. She's like, do not drink coffee before you get on that podcast
know
or you'll be
I
like,
had one, but I one's fine. But yeah, that's awesome. But I felt like my nervous system was starting to almost like heal or just be calm. Like I could almost picture like my spine and all of my nerves just like turning from red and irritated to just calm and just normal flow. And I know that sounds kind of woo woo, but that's what I felt like. I felt like, there's times where it feels a little chaotic still, and that's okay. But for the most part, like, I feel like I got there because I feel good.
you out of fight and flight. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I like to say. Like a lot of my photographers who have been one woman shows, I mostly work with females. Shout out to David. He's the one male photographer I work with because he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I mostly work with female photographers and we just have been holding it all. They've been holding it all. They've been doing it all. They've been just fighting in the trenches to make it happen. Their
Mhm.
shoulders are up by their ears,
Mhm.
right? There's just, they haven't been able to exhale. And there's just a point when you know that not everything has to necessarily be on your plate, whatever that looks like. If it's support or you've created systems or you hit a number financially that you're
Mhm.
not worried in the back of your mind constantly about hitting a specific number or being able to pay a bill or provide for your family,
Mhm.
that triggers our ability to just whatever that piece is. And that number that situation, that looks different for everybody. I don't think six figures for everybody is going to turn off
Right.
that stress response, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very unique to every person.
Yeah, and I know there's somebody listening right now in their car and they are working their ass off and they've got another job, they've got kids, and I just want them to know that that is hard and it is worth it and it will change. And oh my God, I so know that struggle as most women entrepreneurs do. And just keep going and you'll get there. And it's it's just a different time. Like I think a lot of women are like, I don't want to trade my time for this specific thing anymore. I want to run the show. I want to do it my way. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. And then to see people like you, like other women, like I love working with people like you because I'm like, we're really doing the same thing. It looks different, but we really want freedom and we want to call the shots. And I see so many women doing it. And I absolutely am so inspired by that. And I love it.
Well, for those of you who are sitting in your car and you're building the boat, you are
Yeah.
literally building the boat piece by
Yeah.
piece while you're doing what you need to do to take care of your family or yourself or whatever it is. I have been in your shoes. I did it before with a different business when I was in the event world. I worked full time and then at night I did my own
Yep.
event stuff.
Yep.
And it's hard
Yes.
and there is payoff if you believe in yourself. And I will also say, it is not a failure if you never launch to do that other thing
Mm-hmm.
100%, right?
Yep.
You may get to a point that you're like, financially, that's not going to work for me. It's okay
Yep.
if you do both. It's okay if it doesn't replace your full-time hustle. It is okay if it stays the side business, but you still treat it like a business.
Yeah.
That is
Hmm.
still success.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you for saying that. Two questions about personal life, and
Sure.
then we'll wrap up. So you said you're a lover of Thin Mints,
Yes.
as I am too. I love Junior Mints. So you said frozen Thin Mints. Would you prefer them right out of the freezer or softened a little bit? Because there is a
Oh,
difference.
I do like them to come out like for just a few minutes so that you get
Yep.
the flavor. If you eat them totally frozen, I don't feel like you
Yeah.
get the full mint, like the chocolatey,
Yes.
the mintness. So I like them to be out just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a Schitt's Creek fan, is that right?
Yes.
Do
Yes, I
you
am.
have go ahead.
I was gonna say, if anyone ends up working with me, they will see because I have quite a few gifts or chips built into my client
Oh, I love that.
communications that are either Gilmore Girls, Schitt's Creeks, or Leslie Knope. They're
Yep.
prevalent. They age me, and I'm okay with that.
Yep. Yeah. So do you have a favorite Schitt's Creek quote that could apply to your business
Mm,
or an episode?
I don't necessarily know if I have like an episode or quote. I think it's more of an energy.
Yeah.
Um, so I like to say that my face will never be able to do that trend that is like we just let everybody do their own, like we don't judge, right? I do
Yeah.
not have one of those faces. So I deeply identify with David from the show where
Yep.
he's just so expressive. And I always joke that it's just like you're always gonna know what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is gonna be written on my face. And so I always like to say that I have a lot of David energy coming
Yeah.
into the world.
Yeah.
Um, I just yeah, that's probably it's probably more the energy. I like to say that I'm like a combination of David and his
Mhm.
sister in just like and you're gonna get reliable, but it's gonna be a little silly sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's cute. So tell me about where people can find you. And also, you have sent me some links and some goodies for them to get that. I'll put in the show notes. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So you can find me at erinwissig.com. That's where I'm at. And there's a lot of goodies there. I have a whole free resource page. So that's like people that I work with that I love. If you're
Mhm.
looking for some other services there, it's also my blog,
Mhm.
tools, what programs I recommend that I work with a lot of photographers. We've done a
Mhm.
lot of them. It's what I think just like works for the most majority of people.
Yeah.
Um, And then I also sent you a link for a free coffee chat. So anybody can use that link, schedule with me. Please know it is zero pressure. We're going to have a chat like this. You're going to tell me about
Yeah.
what's working, what's not working. We're going to talk and we'll go from there. And hopefully, I'll let you leave with a few things that you can do in your business, whether you hire me or not. And then lastly is something new that I'm trying because we all like a quiz and we
Mhm.
sometimes don't know what we need in our business. And so there is a quiz in there that will kind of let you know where you would be. You go through it and it's going to
Hmm.
tell you, like, I think you should look at ongoing support or you need to build your systems a little bit more. And hopefully that'll just give everybody a little clarity as they're thinking through
Yeah.
their own stuff.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate your time, and you are such a valuable resource to creatives and photographers. So I'm so glad that you decided to do what you're doing and helping other people. So I really appreciate it.
And I look forward to talking to people.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, thanks. Bye bye.